Thanks to the support as a channel member, Chris Spencer. Well, here we go then, boys and girls. Arguably the most important transfer window we will do in the entire series this year. If it goes well, we set ourselves up for a good start to the season. Another potential promotion, maybe being headhunted by a bigger club and moving on in the save. If it doesn't go well, we could have a bad start to the season, get sacked and have to start all over again, potentially. I don't know that there might be an in-between, but I'd prefer the first one of those two options, if possible, please. Hello and welcome to part 10 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, it is our season review and transfer special at the end of a season one, which, as you can see, led to us absolutely destroying the National League North. And I've just realised that Cullinane Liebird finished as our top scorer as well, which is, he played left back all year. 20 goals from our left back, who's actually a centre back, all because he's 6'3". I will release the set piece files soon. I know people are going to want them. Normally at this point, we start the video off with the season review thing that comes up, but as you can see, it's the 5th of May. It still hasn't appeared in my inbox. I think it's waiting for the playoff final to take place. So for this, I guess, the season to officially be over. I mean, we did get things wrapped up very early. I mean, we were done. Our last game of the season was the 20th of April. So I guess it still is pretty early to have the season review thing come through. And if you've watched my non-league transfer specials before, you'll know that most of our business is still 2 months away. We'll do almost everything after the 1st of July when contracts expire, because we're probably not going to be spending any money on any players. The plan is basically assess what we've got, decide if we're going to add any new contracts, but we probably won't, because the squad we've got is aging and not brilliant. I mean, I know that suggests otherwise. This squad does not stay up. I guarantee this squad does not stay up, though. So the plan is work out what we've got, and then free transfers when they become available at the end of their contracts at the start of July, and then plug any gaps we've got with loans. So there's going to be a lot of time travel in a minute, but first we do have 5 new players to welcome. These are the youngsters that I talked about in the last episode. When we get the email through that tells you which Premier League youngsters are being released at the end of their youth contracts, we took them all in on trial, and these were the 5 that we decided to sign. So Maldini Kakuri is a 6'1", 18-year-old centre-back. I assume these have all got English as second nationality. Yeah, he's Albanian, but has English as second nationality. He's joined us from Arsenal, formerly of Fulham as well. And he becomes one of 3 very, very good centre-backs that we've got at the club, alongside Lewis Brown, who is a 6'2", 18-year-old centre-back. He's previously of Arsenal as well. So those two will have been playing together this season just gone in the Arsenal under-18, under-19 teams, you would think. And then the third centre-back we brought in, who's likely to deputise for the other 2, unless we do something drastic like play a 3 at the back, which I'm not ruling out. We're trying to avoid relegation, so that might be something we end up doing. But Jack Kingdon is another centre-back, can also play right back, maybe left back, 6'1", though. He's a centre-back. He joins us from Manchester United, formerly of Morecambe as a young player. Not quite as good as the other 2, but certainly better than any other centre-backs we've got at the club. So we've massively upgraded that position straight away. We've also got a new player in attacking midfield, can also play on the left-hand side, can play central midfield. Realistically, he's going to be competing with Shakuna and possibly Rob Harley after his performance in yesterday's episode for the attacking midfield position. Adam Berry, 18 years old, previously of Manchester United, is star rating-wise half a star better than Shakuna. So we've got some good competition for places there. Does mean whatever we do, we're going to have to use an attacking midfielder again next year, because 2 of our best players are attacking midfielders. And then lastly, we have a striker. We've done this early. I mean, I guess this is finally the Creaney replacement. We have a proper striker that is all our own, and he's pretty quick as well. I love a quick striker. But Yusuf Akamrich, I'm probably saying his name wrong. He's Moroccan, presumably. Yeah, English as second nationality. He's formerly of Tottenham and is a big step up on anybody that we've got in the striker role at the moment. Although, to be fair, apparently not as good as Henry Hearn, who's in on loan at the moment, but also can play out wide on either of the flanks where he would be better than Finn or Aquay in those wide areas as well. So some flexibility on how we might end up using him. So let's get those guys all welcomed in. We're then waiting for the season review. We'll then assess the squad and then finally get stuck in to some transfers. But let's just welcome all these boys in first. Give them their squad numbers. There you go. First in, first choice of the squad numbers before the old ones have even gone. And I think the playoff final has just happened. Blythe are joining us in the National League next year. So I would expect this next continue will lead to the season review. If it, like I've played the game before, isn't it? So there is our season review with our little trophy as well. What a thing to see. And signing of the season has been awarded to nobody? Do we not have a signing of the season? Normally they have a little star next to them. I'm not seeing a signing of the season. Which has that been taken out? That was definitely an FM23. That's interesting. But as far as new signings go, obviously most of what we were able to do this year was loans. There wasn't really any budget here when I arrived. Aquay and Williams were both signed before I arrived as well. So as a permanent signing that I actually did, Cliff Moyo definitely came in and did a job, 52 appearances. We'll be letting him go. He's 31. Ellis Deeney, I will regret for a while. The only thing he's got going for him is that he's cheap and I guess can be our fourth choice defensive midfielder once it's all said and done. Chris Hussey, another one who came in and did a job. We needed a left back. He came in, was a left back. As soon as we secured the title, we dropped him like a stone and he hasn't played since. And of course, René van Kooten could end up being awesome, although with these Premier League youngsters coming in, his potential ability has taken a little bit of a blow because I guess his ceiling is a little lower than these lads who were previously up in the Premier League. Results-wise, we were supposed to finish in the top half, despite being newly promoted. That was quite ambitious, as was. And I actually think at the start of the season, they said mid-table, not top half. I think they've moved the goalposts a little bit there. Doesn't matter, though, because we still won the league. Didn't come close to maxing out our attendances. That's something to keep an eye on. We need to get a few more people through the door. Jordan Cullinane-Liburd as top scorer. I don't know if that says more about how good our set pieces are or more about the fact we didn't really have a regular striker at all. Certainly once Creaney got injured and then was released. I think Creaney probably would have scored more than that if he'd have stayed fit and stayed around. As it is, it was pretty makeshift for the second half of the season up front before Hearn established himself. But I don't think Hearn even got into double figures for goals. So Cullinane-Liburd, excellent stuff from him. It's not going to be enough to secure him a spot as a starter for next year. We might decide to give him a contract and keep him around the squad. But with only 2 stars of current ability and no potential to improve, turns 29 soon as well. So he's getting older. I suspect we're just going to let him go and hope that someone else can pick up the mantle. It's difficult for me to know for sure. Did he score 18 goals because he is exceptional, or would anyone with his physicality in this set piece system score that amount of goals? He's 15 and a half stone as well. Goodness me. He's a big boy. But I suspect any big defender is going to score goals in this system. We'll find out, I guess. Comfortably winning the league, though, as we know. And then if we have a look at the money side of things, we have just had a new sponsorship come in. We also got decent prize money through the FA Cup run this year as well, which is always nice to see. And this was our team of the year. Mohammed in goal, a back four of Cullinane-Liburd, Moyo, Idahen and Dornelli, Milnes and Kennedy in midfield, Aquay, Shakuna and Finn, and then Deacon up front. I mean, everyone from there back, we obviously know that team off by heart. And this was the area where we never really got settled down. Deacon getting 12 goals from 22 starts. Ordinarily, on the face of it, looks quite good. Then you see he's got an average rating of 6.76. And you realise he very much just got his goals in little bursts here and there and never really consistently played well. Player of the year, as you can imagine, goes to Cullinane-Liburd, a 7.2 average rating to go with his 18 goals. Young player of the year is Aquay at 24, showing that maybe we could do with a little bit of an injection of youth, which we've already started to do this summer. I've had a quick look at the club vision and they are looking for us to bring in under 23s. So that's definitely something that's going to be a focus. Top scorer, as we know, Cullinane Liebird. Top assists was Kyle Finn with 25. He is contracted to be here next year, as is Shakuna, who got 8 Man of the Match awards. Highest average rating went to Cullinane Liebird. And it doesn't mention signing of the season. Did signing of the season not use? Is it just no signing of the season anymore? Because I'm sure that used to be on here as well. Have they taken that away? Because that's bonkers if they've taken that away. That was great. As it's the first season as well, we've set lots of club and league records because this is what you do in your first season. A lot of this stuff isn't coded into the database. So you're just basically setting the bar for future years. I suspect 25 assists from Finn is a bar that won't be broken anytime soon. And also youngest player and youngest goal scorer for Harley at 16 years, 95 days for youngest player, 102 days for youngest scorer. I suspect that isn't going to be broken too soon either. And I don't imagine we're going to be playing anybody older than Chris Hussey at any point this season. It looks like Dan Creaney, before he went off in a huff, also broke the club record for most league goals with 66. But that is the... I mean, we've got Tamworth's very youngest, and then we broke it 2 weeks later. But the timeline is much better this year, by the way. If you haven't had a look at this, it is much better now than it was last year. There's still things that could do with being updated on it. I would prefer it if they didn't use phrases like dubs. Come on, Football Manager. Your player base is my age, surely. But Jazz Singh broke the all-time record appearances. Does it say on here where Creaney broke the goals one? It doesn't, which makes me question whether he actually did. We'll look at that in a second. But let's finish that off. We're going to go into the club records, just have a look at Creaney. Okay, so Creaney did break the record. We just weren't aware of it happening when it happened. I suspect he already held the record beforehand and he just extended it further, which is why we didn't get any news notification about it. So, looking at the squad, if we saw I mean, oh my word, there's a lot that needs to be done here because there's so many players who are out of contract. There's a lot of transfers we need to do. All of this is going to wait until the 1st of July when the freebies are available. We'll be scouting in the meantime, but not making any moves unless something really, really good comes up. But we've got loads of money to spend. Even with those new boys coming in, our committed spending is half of our budget. So we've got plenty of wiggle room, but we're going to need a couple of goalkeepers. Hold on, why is it for current? There you go, we want it for current season. We need a goalkeeper to come in over the top of Van Kooten and maybe one to come in as backup so Van Kooten can go out on loan. We need a couple of left backs because Lewis Brown is a centre back. That's where he's going to play. So we need 2 left backs. Likewise, we need 2 right backs because Jack Kingdom is a centre back as well. So we've got no full backs at all. At centre back, we have got 4 because we've got Miles Mitchell-Nelson, who of course came in towards the end of last season. He's on a non-contract. We're probably going to let him go because he's not as good as the ones that we've got. And I think we can probably bring in one more of this kind of level. But the 3 that we brought in are a nice starting point. Defensive midfield, assuming we stick with this system, which I think is the plan at the moment. We've just done 104 points with it. But Deeney can be our 4th choice defender, unless someone wants to buy him, in which case we'll let him go. Sorry, 4th choice defensive midfielder. So we need 3 defensive midfielders. And then we need at least 1 more striker. We've only got Yusuf Akamrich at the moment, so at least 1, if not 2 more strikers. We're set for attacking midfielders. We've got decent options there. We've got Berry, who's just come in, obviously Shakuna as well, and the youngster Rob Harley. And then out wide on the right, we've got Finn, and on the left, we've got Akwe, who's not actually showing up, but he does exist. There he is. But we probably need 1 more on each side just to offer some competition. So a lot of transfers needed, a lot of players leaving the club, but I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get some scouting done and start bringing in some players, I guess. Who's out of contract? A lot of them are out of contract is the answer. Everyone highlighted there is out of contract. Obviously, some of these loans, it would be nice to keep, but it's unlikely to happen because you can't really extend loans in FM anymore. Miles Mitchell-Nelson, we're definitely letting go. He's not good enough. These old guys, we're definitely letting go. Dempsey Arlott John, he's only 22, but he also has no potential, so he can leave. Hussey did his job. I think we can do better. He can move on. Likewise, Jamie Jellis, no real potential. Didn't really play this year. The only one really that it might be worth keeping around is Cullinane Liebird, but it feels fairer to him to let him go and continue starting somewhere else rather than being our utility backup player across the back four. I mean, it is handy to have someone who can play anywhere across the back four, who we know is a set piece threat. He'd be handy to sit on the bench, but I think we can probably do better. He's the only one that might get a new contract, which means the ones that we've got to actually build around are just these guys here. And there's not many of them, is there? This is going to be fun. Okay, when I asked for new training facilities, I did not expect them to cost almost all the money that we have. That's wiped that out in one go. I hope the board know what they're doing. I mean, it's going to be nice to have our training facilities improve and for it to happen as quickly as it is, but goodness me. We're only a part-time club. I don't know how much impact that's actually going to have. I wish they'd have said, well, we can do that, Kev, but this is how much it's going to cost. Oh, blimey. So, time travel complete. We have done a little bit of business whilst time travelling as well. Obviously, you already know about the Premier League youngsters who came in. We've signed a couple of more players on 3 transfers who came up on our scout reports whilst time travelling. So Jack Leahy is in as a winger who can play on either side. He's right-footed, but just as comfortable cutting in off the left as he is playing on the right. He comes in on a free transfer from Hornchurch, where he was playing down in the non-playables last year, got 12 goal contributions. But I think we're going to do good things with this guy. Nice and quick. The ability to play on both sides, always very handy. And then we also brought in Ryan Sears as a right back, 25 years old. Very sharp haircut as well. Likes to be an inverted fullback. We'll beat that out of him. He can play as a normal wing back. I'm done with inverted fullbacks this year, I think. But he's been in semi-retirement out in Wales for the last 3 years, but he's now back into the realms of professional football, albeit we are semi-pro. But still, he's made the step up from the Welsh Premier League to the National League here in England, and returns to English football. We've also moved Kai Williams on. He actually went to Weston-super-Mare a month before his contract with us expired. And then there's been some boys who've been released as well. Most notably, Cullinane Liebird, but also Milnes, Gascoigne, Moyo, Arlott John, Hussey, Jellis, Curley, Deacon, Callum Griffin, who'd been out on loan all year. Basically, most of those fringe players have now moved on. It means there's probably still about £4 or £5 grand a week left in the wage budget, and we're going to need it because we have a first team squad of 13 players. That's all we've got. 13 players. It is obviously the 1st of July, so there's going to be business that we can do, and goodness me, do we need to do some business. We did try and sign Adley Mohammed permanently, but weren't able to because he couldn't get a work permit. We did, however, sign Idahen permanently. I don't know why he's not showing up on here. Where is he? There he is. He did sign permanently for us. So he is in. So that is our 4th centre-back. So we have our 4 centre-backs in. Brown, Kakuri, Idahen, Kingdon. That's fine. We don't need any more centre-backs beyond them, but we obviously do need a starting goalkeeper. Mohammed is not here anymore. Van Kooten not ready to be the starter. We definitely need a left-back. We don't have one. We only have one right-back in the shape of Sears, so we need another right-back. So what's the list? Goalkeeper, 2 left backs, a right back. We then need at least 3 defensive midfielders. So that takes us up to 7 players. We're fine on the left wing. In fact, we're fine in all the attacking midfield positions. There's an argument that we maybe even let Ben Akwe go if we get an offer for him. He's 5th choice according to our squad planner, although to be fair, at the moment, Cam Rich will be the striker, Berry will be attacking midfield, and either Leahy or Finn will be on the right-hand side. So he's kind of first reserve, but it does push him quite far down the pecking order there. And obviously we need at least 1 striker as well. So we need like 8 or 9 players. We've got about £5 grand a week to play with, £4 grand a week to play with. So we're looking at £400, £500, £600 a week per player. Obviously, we can go a little bit above that and then plug the gaps with loans. But it is free transfer day. It's the 1st of July. Everyone's available for... No, everyone who's out of contract is available for free. Let's make sure we understand the rules. We're going to go and grab some trialists and see what we can do. At the moment, the media think we should have just about enough about us to avoid relegation. based on the fact we've got 13 players, I'm surprised that they've come to that conclusion. But hopefully, within a week or two, once we've brought some more players in, we should be looking pretty good. At the moment, Team Cohesion is already down to average because obviously we've lost a lot of last year's team. Shakuna has still got a grumpy on that we don't have defensive midfielders. Hopefully, when we bring some in, he'll cheer up. If he stays grumpy, I am ruthless enough to get rid of him. We showed that with Creaney last year, so he needs to watch his step. It's not like he is irreplaceable now as the attacking midfielder. He's probably Adam Berry's reserve anyway, as it currently stands. So let's go get some free transfers. So a couple of weeks into the summer, 14th of July, we've added 4 players, all players that we actually needed. We've got Regan Clayton, who is a flying left back who was previously of West Ham on loan at Dorking last season. So he'll be our starting left back. We then have our new goalkeeper, Joe Rose, natural sweeper keeper. Lovely old stuff. He was at Norwich, has previously had a loan at Bury Town a few years ago, but just been sat around doing very little at Norwich for several years. Harry Brook is a new defensive midfield player, 20 years old, previously also of Norwich, was on loan at Braintree in the National League South last year. And then Sam Paul can cover right back or right back and left back. He's basically going to be our reserve fullback. Plus we've got the centre backs who can cover out fullback as well. And between the lot of them, I think we probably have enough fullbacks now. He was at Reading previously. So this is what our squad depth is now looking like. We still very much need a striker and probably a couple more defensive midfielders. I think goalkeeper-wise, we're probably okay with Rose and Van Kooten as the backup. This is what I'm talking about at left-back. If Regan Clayton is our starter at left-back, Sam Paul can cover as backup on either side. And then on this side, we've got Lewis Brown and Jack Kingdon, who can play left-back if they need to. And then on the right, Ryan Sears will be our starter. Sam Paul there is the guy who covers both sides. And again, Kingdon can cover there as well. At centre-back, we've got those 4 players who, because several of them can play full-back as well, there will be game time for all of them. So I think we should be able to keep all 4 of those happy. We don't really have anything near what we need in defensive midfield yet. Ellis Deeney, I really don't want to have to be using. So we've got Harry Brook, no partner, no reserves. So defensive midfield is a huge priority. We haven't really explored loans yet, so we're not panicking about that just yet. Left wing, I am leaning more and more towards letting Ben Aquay leave, just because there's just no logical way to fit him in, really. We're accumulating more and more players. Clayton can play on that left-hand side as well now. So I think Aquay, if he wasn't so cheap, he'd already be gone. But he might see himself heading out in the near future. On the right-hand side, I'm pretty happy with those 3. Attacking midfield, pretty happy with those 3. But we do need at least one more striker because Yusuf Akamrich could end up playing out wide on either side. We don't know for sure we're going to use him as a striker even. So we probably need a couple of strikers in. We still have a little bit of budget left and we still have loans to play with. So it's not over yet. There's still more to do. But the league season starts in just over 2 weeks. And we do need to pick up the pace a little bit, or Deeney's going to be starting and we're only going to have 1 striker in the squad. And neither of those are ideal. Well, we've got a couple of more players in, and I think this is probably going to be it, unless we can find more free loans that might help us. We've got Connor Evans in, who is a striker on loan from Crewe for the season. We're actually having to pay his salary, which is a little bit unfortunate, but he's better than any other striker we've got at the club, and he got 25 goals in the league we were in last year for Chester. 25 goals, 11 assists. So he's a proven goal scorer who should slot nicely into the team. Cameron Antwi has come in as a new holding midfield player for us, can play either of the roles that we use. 22 years old, was on loan at Bath in the National League South last season, previously of Cardiff, Blackpool, Fulham. And then these 2 are free loans that we've brought in to try and make up the numbers a little bit. So Max Leeson will probably be 3rd choice striker, depending on what happens with the guy who can play anywhere across the front 3. He's 18 years old, on loan from Salford for the year. We're not paying anything towards him. And Will Flint is a defensive midfielder, central midfielder, centre back, who's on loan from Doncaster. Again, we're making no wage contribution to him either, just really to make up the numbers in the squad. So we're currently sat here on a squad of 21 players, which gives us depth looking like this. I still don't feel like we've got a great striker. Hopefully Evans can make the step up and fill that role. Certainly if he can repeat last year's goal scoring exploits, we should be fine. The attacking midfield, should be pretty good. Harry Brook is going to be great, and hopefully someone emerges to play alongside him. I really don't want to have to use Deeney too much. Very happy with the back four. I think the back four we built early and I am confident with, and Joe Rose, fingers crossed, hits the ground running, playing in goal as well. So it's not perfect. We could probably add one more player, but we don't have the money to. We have actually gone a little bit over our wage budget, so that's not ideal. We can't really add any more money there. If anything, we should probably look to move on some of these players that we don't necessarily need. I'm thinking in terms of, where is he? Akwe, if I can find him. He's only going to make us £200. Team cohesion is also not great. It's gonna be fine, boys and girls. Let's have a look what the media think of our new look squad. They think we should be on course for mid-table. The board are just looking for us to avoid getting relegated, so we should be okay. We do probably need to try and get that wage budget down a little bit, though. Although to be fair, there's not many obvious places to do that, and we've had to overpay in a couple of areas that we probably shouldn't have overpaid in. Although to be fair, their key roles, if those three end up being really, really good and fulfilling their potential, then those salaries are worth every penny. Maybe Idahem was a bit expensive. We certainly paid a little bit too much for Antwi, but that's because we were getting desperate. We couldn't find anyone at a reasonable price to come in and play in that DM role alongside Brooke. So, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. Let's see if we can find any more free loans that can actually improve us. Well, if we do manage to bring anyone else in, it won't be before the first game of the season, because that is about to happen. That, of course, will be tomorrow's video. But this is our best 11 as things currently stand. So new boy Joe Rose in goal. Back four, all new. Is it all new? I mean, a lot of the team is new. Pretty much the entire 11 is new. Not just pretty much. That is an entirely new first 11. I told you we'd do a rebuild. Goodness me. So Clayton will be the left back, very attacking left back. So we're going to focus him attacking down this side with Leahy cutting inside. So we'll put a instruction on him to cut inside with the ball. We could put him as an inverted winger, but I actually want him to, because we're playing the wing play system, so I want him to start from a wide position and come in rather than hovering in there. But it's something we could potentially switch around if we need to. Sears will be on the other side as a wing back on support, although he is more defensive minded. So if we find we're getting ourselves caught out, we could always switch him to be an inverted fullback or just a fullback on defend and just get him to stay back with these two while Clayton pushes forward. We've then got Brown and Kakuri as our starting centre backs. Antwi alongside Brooke in central midfield, and then Berry as the attacking midfielder in behind Evans, Leahy on the left, Akamrich on the right, and Evans up front. An entirely new first 11. We do have some of last season's players on the bench: Van Kooten, Idahen, Finn, and then of course we've still got Deeney, Akwe, and Shakuna knocking around the place as well. But I wouldn't be distraught if all three of them left. We'll probably give Shakuna a try at some point, but I think that's what we're going with. We are also training the same direct counter-attack as a backup system that we had last year, but we switched out the route one we had for a Gegenpress version, and that's what we're training. We're still part-time, so we can't do anything to help out with the team cohesion, because if we go into our training schedule, we can't add team cohesion match review stuff on because we are maxed out on training. What we have done this summer is increase some of our backroom staff, though. We've got an extra coach, an extra scout, and we've also done a little bit of upgrading. If I just show you what we've been doing for the backroom staff. Okay, why is it not showing staff coming in and out? That's weird. Staff definitely came in and out. We've got a new assistant manager, is what I'm trying to get at. The previous guy's contract ran out. He wasn't great, so we brought in Dave Penny as the assistant manager. He's a little bit of an upgrade. Lots of experience being an assistant manager at this level. So he comes in as the new assistant manager. And Julian Dix is in coaching the defenders. And Bobby Mims is in coaching the goalkeepers. We've got 1990s Premier League with some of our coaching staff there. So fingers crossed that's going to be a good enough team to keep us up in this league. Of course, we won't know for sure until we actually play some matches. We play Eastbourne tomorrow. Eastbourne are also newly promoted and favourites to go straight back down again. So if we don't come away with a win on the first day of the season, we potentially have a problem. So cross everything, fingers crossed, we start tomorrow with a win. But if you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.